Welcome to episode 211 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is co-host Scott Wright and the commenter in the upper right corner, co-host Kevin Johnson.
The commentator. The commentator in the upper right corner.
Well, it was commentor.
Oh, was it? Okay, yes.
Yes.
Commenter.
And
he is in the upper right corner. And he does make comments.
That's right.
I do.
I'll take Kevin Johnson to block, please.
Oh, wow. So for those of you that are unaware of what we're talking about, you can just check out our Reddit.
Yeah, you need to go on our Reddit.
Yeah, check out our Reddit community. And there was just a post from, well, let's just say it's some comments from the person that had disclosed the Insta360 vulnerability. But that's all we'll say.
Which was great work. And
it was great work. Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I've got lots to say, and it's all confused.
Yes. He has lots of comments, but I'll probably totally mess this up. I'm going to put you on the bottom right corner in this video.
You just put me upside
down. That means people are going to mistake me for him. No, it's
completely upside down. It works.
Yes. So we have some exciting stories this week for everyone. So let's get into the first one, which is your graphics card can now be used to track you across the web, regardless of cookie consent. So this is a new technique, or we've talked about fingerprinting, right? Mm-hmm. Browser fingerprinting,
Canvas IDs and stuff.
Yeah, and Kevin, I think you and I even talked about this. Yes. Was it DerbyCon? Is it?
I think it was DerbyCon when we were talking about the HTML5.
Yes.
Changes, and that's what I say. Is this I'm not going to say this is a new technique. I'm going to say that what this is better statistics and analysis of an existing technique.
Well, except that now it's using your graphics card, the GPU.
But if you look back at our talk at DEF CON, we talked about the fact that WebGL gave better access to the hardware than the browser normally did, and that it could be abused to attack the user, which is what this is saying. And I'm not. And I want to be very clear. I'm not claiming credit for this. I don't think
Kevin discovered it first.
No. I don't think you or I ever felt that what we were saying was unique and brilliant and new.
But I've got to give you guys credit. You have credibility because you did know about this stuff. You did talk about it before, so that's cool.
But that's this is and maybe this is imposter syndrome, or maybe this is just me not. We built on the shoulders of other people. Sure. We did not come up with a new technique. We just said, hey, here's a whole bunch of techniques that already exist.
Yeah.
And this move to HTML5, which is what everybody was referring to it back then, was exposing the browser to things the browser wasn't designed to be exposed to. Yeah. And that as we add features to the browser, we are weakening the privacy and security of the users of the browser. And personally, I believe that Mozilla has made it their God-given direction to make privacy suck. And Google is supporting them. When we discuss the fact that Microsoft Edge is probably closer to a privacy browser, it is not.
No.
But yeah, this is. I like this. I'm really thrilled that they went in and did this type of research to.
But still, you guys are adding value by putting the right context on what all this technical gobbledygook actually means. So thank you guys.
Yeah. So and I think it's important that we talk about this because, and like you said, Kevin, these techniques that are used to track us on the web, they keep evolving. Yeah. And there's always new ways of doing it. And this is, the recent example, and the researchers that did this it's great work, very technical work. Obviously, if you want to dig into the details, we'll have this linked in the show notes for you. But ultimately, I actually was more fascinated with kind of the mitigations that they talk about. And to your point, Kevin, WebGL, that's something that a lot of sites are using. I think
Yes.
they reference like Google Maps is a great
Yeah.
example of kind of how WebGL is being used.
Well, and if you
So
look at what we said back then, is that what we were pushing for was for the browsers to support the ability to turn on and off features
yeah,
either in the browser entirely or for only allowed on certain sites. And here we are 87 years later, and the mitigation is still, you can't really fix
maybe 8.
this because the browsers don't give you the granularity of control that you need to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Mozilla is too busy screwing with DNS and ruining privacy that way to pay attention to actually protecting.
Yeah.
Can you tell you I'm bitter about Mozilla? Um,
So
yeah, we need more granular control to protect our own privacy. And I want to be blunt. There isn't going to be enough regulation out there. And I know
sure.
that's the direction people are going to push, at least some people, to fix this. What we need is a technical solution. We need granularity of control, not remove the feature, right? Because that's the other direction. What I found is the modern browsers do one of two things. They either remove the feature entirely and choose for you, or they don't give you the option to control it yourself. And either of those options are wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is awesome discussion, and just from the point of view of somebody listening who might not understand the details of what we're talking about, what would be a good use case where you could say this could potentially be a risk to you? Is it just any site that uses
good use cases in it's a risk, or good use cases in this is why I want it turned on?
This is a risk. Say I'm a user and I'm using my browser. Do I know if WebGL is turned on? Do I know if this is...
It's turned on.
Okay.
By default, it has to. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're using a modern browser, WebGL is turned on.
Okay. So in that case, I'm a user. I'm using Google Maps. I'm using any other good examples of sites where that capability might be exploited or leveraged.
Yeah, anything that uses a lot of graphics, graphical power.
And let me be very clear, the graphing power doesn't actually have to be visible to the user.
That's correct. Yeah.
Like, you can go to a website that looks like a 1983 website with an animated gear telling you it's under construction, showing my age a little. And I know it wasn't 1983, but 1996. And they can just have a not rendered, like not visibly rendered graphic, right? It's that old trick. Do you guys remember the SEO trick that you put white on white text at the bottom of the
SEO,
page?
Invisible text,
yeah. It's the same thing. You can write to a layer that is hidden. The browser is still running the code, right? Like that. And so the risk here is privacy, right? We can track you further than you want us to or think we are. And it says it in the article, right? This can be used to circumvent privacy protections and privacy regulations.
Yep, and cookies and
cookies and what have
cookie
you.
acceptance, and how we've basically re-architected the web to comply with like GDPR. This would bypass all of that completely.
And so when we talk about tracking, it's not like necessarily they know exactly where you are when you're doing this, unless they have access to your GPS location from a device, right? It's really more about, I'm back. I was here before. I'm back, and they can recognize that you're back.
Or not just I'm here and I was here before, but also I went to this site and then I went to this other site and then I went to this other site, and all three of those sites included this code.
Yeah, that's actually a more important example. Yeah.
Which for me, one of the examples I could see is as an attack. If I was evil, not professionally evil, but evil, outright evil, I would totally go and compromise organizations' GTM accounts, the Google Tag Manager, and I would add this code through GTM, or I would compromise, the current version of jQuery that everybody runs and loads from a third-party server, right? And then now every single site that does their pull that jQuery code down, now has mine, and I can track people across sites that you wouldn't normally think were connected.
Yeah, and I see this from the advertiser angle, right? This is
targeted advertising.
targeted advertising. Doing the things that Facebook and other companies will take that data, sell it to ad brokers, and I mean, probably good to do an episode, I think, just all on browser fingerprinting, because I think a lot of people would be surprised how much information your browser gives away just through doing regular web surfing. It's
and that's also interesting. I mean, we could save it for another discussion, but I use that as an example for when a malicious link. What can a malicious link do? Well, it can take you to a site where it can detect what software you're using and then exploit it with kind of like a shotgun, coming back at you as in a response, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. So, yeah, great topic, and maybe we can continue this discussion on a monthly show or separate episode. But keeps getting crazier. So
I love it.
So let's move on to our Aware Much segment with Mr. Scott Wright. What do you have for us this week, Scott?
Well, Tom, we've got the FBI's Internet Crime Center highlighting a growing scam around job ads. We've seen job ad scams before, but they're getting more refined and really more interesting. Some job ad sites are apparently easily hacked by attackers, and they can actually post unauthorized job ads with malicious links and stuff like that within valid accounts that are owned by legitimate companies. And so what typically happens is somebody sees that job ad, they read it or click on it, and then they get into a flow where they're asked to pay a fee for things like reference checks and stuff like that. And of course, they're told they'll be refunded after the job starts, but of course, they never hear back and never get the money back. So it's actually costing, I think, on average, they say $3,000 or as much as $3,000 to some, poor innocent job seeker, who's probably the least able to afford these things. So it's really kind of an insidious, almost sickening kind of attack, right? Exploiting these kind of people. So my ClickArmor tip really on this is, when you're posting job ads, use a reputable site that actually uses multi-factor authentication, which would prevent an attacker from easily being able to go in and post ads on your behalf. And if you're a job searcher, really be careful if somebody's asking you to pay an upfront fee to get a job.
Yeah.
If you're being asked to pay a fee, it's not a job. It's a scam. I mean, like, seriously. Let me rephrase that. At least here in the U.S., as far as I know, in almost every other country, if somebody says to you, "Hey, we want to hire you, but to get hired, here is the money you have to get us."
Yeah, that's a 419 scam. Flag. It's a 419 scam.
Totally.
Just plain and simple. And if you get one of those and you think, "Hey, man, no, this is a real legitimate job," call me, because I would like to know. I would like to see it, and I will guarantee you that when you call me and show it to me, I'm going to say to you, "Nope, that's a scam." You don't pay for stuff. I was talking to somebody about a job offer they had, and they're like, "Yeah. It's with Google, and due to the number of people who want to work at Google, I have to show good faith and cover the initial cost of the background check."
Yeah, and there's so much competition sometimes, right? It's
that's BS. Yeah. It's just plain and simple BS. Google or anybody else, I'll tell you right now, we're hiring. We are interviewing right now for Security, and I'm now tempted to say to the people that we're interviewing with, "Hey, if you want to go to the next interview, you need to pay us $100 for a background check." And I'm not going to take their $100.
But you're going to see if they're smart enough to realize it. Yeah.
But that's a deal breaker. If you're dumb enough to pay me to do it, right? Like, I don't want to hire you.
Kevin screens his employees.
Yeah, that's how I screen you. You send me money randomly.
That's funny.
I don't hire you.
And this could happen in any kind of marketplace environment, right? And a lot of places like real estate agents, usually the seller pays the or has the commission structure, and then they pay the buying agent sometimes, right? But
Mhm.
the idea of, different kinds of marketplaces where, hey, now we're going to take money from the buyer as well as the seller, that's certainly an opportunity for a scam to kind of come in and say, yeah, this is,
Yeah.
I'm collecting
Yeah.
this legitimately, but it
The,
really
I,
shouldn't
I
be.
think I think one of the things to be very clear about though is, and I want to say this because the way you phrased it, Scott, I think was accurate from a perspective. But I think there's a possibility people will misunderstand you.
Okay.
You said that they could, at some job sites, they could post a job ad on the company's page as it, by hacking the company page. There's no hacking involved there. The problem here is that many of the web job sites, and the article goes on to say that, it wasn't named in the FBI thing, but they suspect it was LinkedIn. um, you're able to post on a company's page. You're able, like, just I can go to the Bishop Fox page and post a message and say, "Hey, Bishop Fox, you've got one of the best
Oh,
AppSec
okay.
guys out there.
Mhm.
Tom Eston, he's amazing. I mean, he's not as good as me in secure ideas, but other than that, he's awesome." And right, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I can post that, and that's what the page is for.
Right. I
The
see.
problem is that I can also post something that says, "Hey, we're hiring. We're
Yeah.
Bishop Fox. Click this link."
Yep.
And the problem is, and I want to be very clear, it's because of a number of reasons, but one of the reasons being they don't want to allow companies to remove negative reviews and stuff like that, right?
Right.
They don't allow the admin of the page to remove those types of content. And so it makes it look like it came from the company.
Right.
Hi, we're Bishop Fox, we're hiring, click this link.
Yeah.
And the admin of the page doesn't have much they
Yeah,
can
they
do
kind of
about
paint
it.
themselves into a corner then. I
They do.
didn't, thanks for pointing that out, Kevin. I didn't realize it was that
Yeah.
easy. I thought it was legitimate ad posting sites like they mentioned LinkedIn, but it could be anywhere where you
Yeah,
can, like you said, any user generated content can be made to look like an
Exactly.
ad, right? So
exactly. And
that's your
that's
point. Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to, and I appreciate that. That's why I wanted to clarify, was because many people would think, "Oh yeah, yeah, but that's so difficult." No, it's not. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
very simple to post these things. Anybody can do it. As a matter of fact, we've seen cases where people have meant to post something somewhere else as like their own job.
Mhm.
Use job posting. It wasn't job postings, but where they've meant to post things as themselves and accidentally posted it onto a company page without
Yeah.
realizing it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks like it came from the company.
Yeah.
Um, you got to be real careful. And to me, this is one of those cases where there are certain types of scams. I think if you're a scammer, you're an unethical scumbag, and people should try to set you on fire. Just my opinion, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe there are certain cases where you're scamming people that are in bad situations already.
Yeah.
That not only should you be set on fire, we should piss on you to put it out and then set you on fire again. Because, like, seriously, I think we should figure out who the parents of these people are, call
You're
them up
not
and say,
wrong.
"We're very sorry that your child is such a lifelong disappointment to you. Don't worry, there's other kids out there you can adopt because this one sucks." And right? Or just call them up and say, "Hey, how did you fail so bad as a parent that your kid thinks it's okay to screw with people who are trying to get jobs? Many of whom are in bad jobs you're
Yeah, it's bad.
scum."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I love the imagery, but
Did Scott just say he likes the image of people pissing on people? That's what I heard. I don't think that's what he
On
said, but
scammers, yes, that's what he
on
means.
scammers, yes, we all
Yeah.
do.
yeah,
Yes.
Everyone
on
hates
scammers.
scammers.
Okay, good.
That's right.
Mhm. So the Click Armor social engineering course called Fakes and Frauds can provide graphic novel narratives that put people in a real risk situation so they can see what kinds of threats they'll be facing and be prepared. And as you know, a lot of the traditional security awareness training really isn't working that well. People just don't remember it. But even if they do, sometimes they're very engaging and say, "Oh, we saw some great videos from security awareness. It was a lot of fun." And then I asked, "Do you remember what the message was?" And they go, "No." So it doesn't necessarily sink in. So we're really trying to get people to the point where they're actually able to practice and understand what they're going to face and how to deal with these things. So it's what I call immersive security awareness and engagement. And if you want to learn more, go to clickarmor.ca/shared security, and you can get an inside peek at what we're working on.
What does it mean to go off the grid? Well, for most of us that are constantly relying on our phones, tablets, and laptops, it means shutting them off and doing some other activity like enjoying nature or spending time with friends and family. Now, you're probably a lot like me and struggle with turning off or putting down that smartphone because we always feel the need to be constantly connected. Listen, it's hard to go off the grid, but the good news is that there are products that can help. So that's why I recommend using a silent Faraday bag, which can instantly block all wireless signals, quickly taking you off the grid and giving you back control of your wireless devices. Check out their full product line at slnt.com, and because you listen to this podcast, make sure you use discount code SHAREDSECURITY at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Awesome. What a great Aware Much segment.
I love the tone you say that with.
Because there's a question mark after much.
There is. There absolutely is.
That's right. So our last story of the week, and I just love this story because it's not every day you hear about a story of one individual that takes down the internet of an entire country. I mean,
Yeah,
when was the last time that happened?
But let's be very clear. When we say the internet of the entire country, they've got like a 14.4 modem that is hosting 7 websites.
It's still their country.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying what the guy did. What the guy did is,
that's what we're going to get into. Yeah. Right? Well, that's what I want to talk about. But
yeah.
So over the past couple of weeks, people that have been observing the North Korea, let's just say, internet perimeter, have noticed that sites have just disappeared. They've gone off the net, and like en masse. And in fact, I just saw another article today that said that these attacks are continuing. In fact, email services have been down as well for apparently the North Korea government, which is kind of interesting. But this hacker, or I don't know, this guy, let's just say that, he was targeted by North Korea during a campaign, I think it was like last year, where Western security researchers were targeted for their hacking tools, essentially. And this guy, he goes by P4X is his handle. He basically said, I'm going to get them back because the US government isn't doing anything about it. So he takes kind of this into his own hands, and he basically developed some scripts and some tooling on his own. And he has set this up apparently through his home office. And he is essentially, I guess you'd call it like a DDoS attack, right? Mm-hmm. And taking down the services. He had said that he had found vulnerabilities in their servers, which he was exploiting. And no one can actually confirm or deny that. But we can confirm that North Korea internet services have been going up and down for the last couple of weeks, and it looks to be attributed to this gentleman.
As he ran into his kitchen in his slippers and
yeah, there's some fun language in the article saying that, you know, he's a guy that's just sitting around watching alien movies and eating spicy corn snacks while he takes down an entire country.
Is he the guy that Trump was talking about, you know, hacking from his bedroom? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe this is that guy, right? But some of the other quotes that he says, like, you know, for me, this is like the size of a small to medium pen test. which is
that's funny.
It's kind of a joke on North Korea that they don't have a large internet presence, obviously.
Yeah.
And
It's intentional. It's a small threat surface.
Well, right. And he has actually started a website that he threw up on, I guess, the dark web called the Funk Project, which stands for FU North Korea, in the hopes of getting more researchers to come together to continue and attack North Korea.
Yeah. And normally I would say to myself, or say out loud, man, you're attacking a whole country like this. You're really impacting the people who have no control over this. But my understanding with North Korea is you're impacting exactly the people who have control over this, because they're the only ones with internet connection in North Korea. So I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand on this one, but damn it, keep it up.
Well, and then I was reading just some threads on Reddit about this, and some people are saying that this actually could harm kind of the governments and other organizations that are trying to put restrictions and other things on North Korea. It could harm those kind of programs and enforcement things that I think that the world is trying to do, because it might look like another government, not one guy,
false
is
attribution.
attacking them. Yeah. And of course, North Koreans say, "Oh, this is the guy's in the U.S., so it's state sponsored, right? By the U.S." So it's kind of controversial, right? Of a vigilante, right, doing this.
Well, and that has always been the concern around
hacking back.
Vigilante.
I don't know how to say vigilante now. But that's always the concern, right? Okay, let's jump to a completely different topic, the Boston Marathon bombing, right? And there's all these people, Reddit again, all these people who are going around saying, hey, I saw this guy in the video, and and they chased people and outed people and doxed people that had nothing to do with the bombing.
Yeah, that's the world we live in today.
Right. And so,
it really is.
And I'm not saying it's not, I mean, good stuff came out of that, but it's the same type of thing. There's always that risk. You're going to impact other things. And let's be blunt, if the risk is you're going to impact other things with a country that has an absolute psychopath running it, maybe we should be thinking a little bit clearer about what we're doing. I don't know. The evil part of me kind of likes take them down. I always got a slight thrill from the jester, right?
Oh yes, I love him on Twitter.
I know that's
he's
what I'm
great.
Like. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. So we'll continue to follow this story. Check out our Reddit community where we have posted all of these stories that we talk about on the show. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And Kevin is more than happy to comment on those as well. So, I think that wraps it up for this week, gentlemen. But,
always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
It is a pleasure. So, like I said, check us out on Reddit. We're also on Twitter. Have not left that social network yet. The social networks that we have
right?
have eliminated from our lives. But with that, we will let everyone go. But stay tuned for another episode next week, and we will all talk to you soon. That's all for this week's show. Visit our website, sharedsecurity.net, for all previous episodes and to sign up for our email newsletter. Looking for Shared Security merch? Be sure to check out our online store at store.sharedsecurity.net. Don't forget, you can always find us on Twitter at SharedSec, and please hit that like and subscribe button below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.